All right, we are live. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a chance to take a extra break and some time off last week, at least for those folks over in the US here celebrating Thanksgiving. For those of you else in the world, I hope you had a good break too. But we are back in the saddle. We are ready to share some updates for you and in short, also open up for Q&A as usual, because it is office hours. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time, plus a minute or two, and we're happy to be here. Hey, Andrew, how are things?
Pretty good. I think my body is finally recovering from too much food and we'll just say too much food, overconsumption. And I'm trying to stay warm. We finally got our first, I don't even know how much snow we got, but it was a lot.
Well, it was close to a foot. So it's...
And it's just kept dumping on us a couple of times since then. So
I know. It's the worst.
Doing well, though. And you?
Well, my body is just trying to recover from shoveling a lot of that snow over the weekend. But yeah, here we are.
Good.
Not 25 anymore.
No.
All right. What news do we have for us, Andrew?
Well, I've got a few things that I thought were worth sharing today. You know what? I did not share my screen, Johan.
Oh, so you did not.
Oh my goodness.
Fired. Yeah.
All right. Hopefully you'll rehire me here in
the next minute. Yeah, that's very, very likely. All right. Here we are.
All right. First thing I came across, so I've got a few that were actually not systems management related today, but these are things that we often come across anyways in our day-to-day, so I thought they were worth sharing. First one here is that if I understand this change correctly, Microsoft is actually splitting out a process that handles calling in Teams into a different process. Basically a child process you can see here in this second paragraph that is meant to improve the performance and the startup time of Teams. And at this point, I suspect that most of us, I know you and I, Johan, have used Teams quite regularly. I suspect most of our audience has also used Teams and will welcome any performance improvements to the software. So we'll see how this actually works out in practice, but that seems like a fairly major change to the front end of Teams. Excited to see if it actually speeds things up a bit. Also came across this post on Twitter from Fabian. If you are using vulnerability management in Defender, this is moving, not only vulnerability management itself, but the underlying sections of it. So Fabian put together this nice diagram to help us figure out where everything is going in the Defender portal here. So it's moving under the exposure management section. But I like that he has said that this is a handy chart. But these are things we've talked about this a number of times here on Office Hours. The amount of times these portals change and things like that. I actually appreciate seeing this and having this nice diagram. This was also just an interesting one, I thought. So if Johan, have you ever gotten like a spam calendar invite, just from some spammy third-party thing?
The last 30 seconds, no.
So if you did 5 to 10 minutes ago, then you've probably seen when you get that calendar invite, you can delete the email, but that invite will actually stay on your calendar. So I came across this post from Ali that this is changing. so that if you do get an email that has one of these calendar invites in them, delete it. That calendar invite's going to go with too. So small but very welcome improvement.
That is good news.
Yes.
That is good news.
All right. And then two other things on the Intune side of things. So Uger, who is constantly developing a new Intune tool, developed a new one called IntuneChangelog.com that basically looks into the audit logs and actually the audit logs for Intune, and actually alerts you on changes that are happening in your tenant. So in his example here in his post, you can see that he's actually receiving an email alert from Intune changelog saying, all right, these BitLocker policies changed and here's the user that did it. So we can view that today, no problem, if we go over to our Intune admin center and look through the audit logs ourselves manually. But this alerting feature is nothing that's built in natively. So another welcome improvement from the community. So I wanted to share that. And then a couple of weeks ago, we did talk about Sandy Zhang's IntuneDiff tool, and just wanted to mention there have been a couple of updates since then. Some new policy types that are being supported. For example, just 2 days ago, she added support for Windows Hello for Business policies. So very excited to see the continued growth here in this tool, especially over the last couple of months already since it's been released. So wanted to call that out as well. And with that is what I had for today.
All right. I do have a couple of things as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and, well, remove yours.
All right.
Yeah. And there we are. So first of all, over the last week and a half here, I've been working on a long promised blog post. Took me a while to get that one published. Sorry about that, but it's here now. It's basically for those of you who want to make sure that during imaging with ConfigMgr, that it doesn't start to do updates in the middle. And I thought that would be pretty simple to prevent that from happening, but these days Windows is actually quite aggressive in how it wants to be patches, and it's not just the normal updates, but it's also the out-of-box experience updates, and Edge is quite aggressive. I don't mind if the platform were done imaging, but if you start to do things in the middle where I try to install other applications, not a good idea. So long story short, the post is live. There's a couple of scripts that you download and add to your sequences. So I wanted to show you briefly how that actually works. So if I go over to here, head over to my sequences, I'm gonna go to my no update sequence. So the first thing I do is during the WinP phase, I go ahead and run a PowerShell script that will, in the offline image that was applied just a minute ago here, I can show you the script here and just open it up in VS Code. It basically sets a bunch of registry keys, but it does it in the new OS. So earlier in the script, there is a reg load. So it loads the offline hive that is on the hard drive and basically sets a bunch of registry values that will take, or basically ask software updates and Edge to just shut up and don't do anything at the moment. Then after that has been done in the WinP phase, so make sure that those changes are available right away after reboot, when even before anything else happened. I also copy the script for an online version of the same script over to the task sequence cache folder. And the reason I do that is because I have a ANA10 file here in my settings package. And if I open that ANA10 file, you can see that ANA10 file in the specialized pass, which is quite early in the imaging process after reboot. It's the first pass after reboot. I'm running that script, from that cache folder, because everything that you put in that folder in the WinP phase will be available when you come up in Windows the first time. And then I have to do that all one more time a little bit later, as soon as the ConfigMgr client gets installed, which is here. I run it one more time because the ConfigMgr client also puts in some configurations and triggers updates, or rather it applies settings that triggers an update. So same online script here, that same registry keys are being injected. So long story short, if you put all this in place, it will make sure that the sequence is quiet during imaging, which we like. You might have noticed also there was a new version of the driver automation tool, 7.2.6, that was released just a couple of days ago. There was no mention that I can find on Twitter about it. I could see nothing on the website for it, but there is a new version, and the change in that version is support for 25H2 in the download tool. The PowerShell script that does it, injects it later in the sequence, that was updated months ago for 25H2, but this utility that creates packages was updated just now. So I just wanted to mention that one. Now, what else? Well, our friends over at System Center dudes, they reshared a script we have mentioned. I don't remember if it was the last time or at some point earlier, but basically they put together a nice blog post so that you can run a script to make sure that your devices do have recovery keys. Because I mean, I even had it had some internal support last night here in this house. Our little 12-year-old gamer was an update applied to his computer, and after that, it rebooted and prompted for BitLocker recovery key. So Amy fixed that recovery key, got it out of his live email or Microsoft account email, and the machine was back in business. But without the recovery key, he would have been pretty unhappy, I'm sure of. So this is a good script to figure out or make sure that you do have all of those available. All right. Let's see. Then I stumbled across this tweet regarding using custom compliance to make sure that the device will be marked as non-compliant if not updated with patches released for the last X days. So basically custom script, custom JSON, but I thought this was a nice blog post. I just wanted to mention it there. And for the fun of it, this made me chuckle just a little bit because I remember building these, but I figured it was worth showing.
It's true.
Those backplanes, they were very sharp.
I have received more than 0 cuts from them.
Yep, I'm with you right there. Then I stumbled across a news not related to Intune ConfigMgr or anything like that, but to hardware. And apparently Seagate has been able to squeeze in even more terabyte of storage per platter in their upcoming hard drive. So technically, we can have 60, 70 terabyte disks, like 10 of them in an NAS, and we have a good chunk of storage for our VMs. Perfect for archiving.
Can't believe they're still cramming that much into one hard disk.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We may have mentioned this in the past, but I saw an update again from Martin Hemken regarding a friendly reminder that stay away from TLS inspection or SSL inspection for all of the endpoints that are involved in Intune. That's like if there is a top 5 support issue table with the most common support issues, this will be one of them, guaranteed. All right. Then I saw a note from the team that developed WinGet, and apparently they have a new tool that were presented at Ignite. So they call it WinGet Studio. Haven't had a chance to dive into it yet, but if you are willing to try out this experimental tool, by all means, check out this link. Peter van der Voorde made a good post on how to customize the taskbar layout using Intune in this case. I want to mention that one. And then back to hardware again. I did not know this. I probably should have, but I learned that if you leave SSDs unpowered for like years and years, they may actually lose the content that is on them.
Wow.
I had no idea. So that was a good read, I thought. Explaining a little bit the science behind it and whatnot.
Speaking of hardware and not having any idea, probably because I haven't bought any recently, but have you seen the prices of RAM?
No, but I heard it was going to double.
It's and it did in like a matter of weeks. And as far as I can tell, no end in sight from what I'm reading.
I should withdraw my Christmas request for 2 terabyte of memory then, I guess.
Or just cut it in half to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And on that note, Mike just put a comment here in the chat. I just saw that this afternoon. Micron is folding up Crucial and completely exiting the consumer space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, Crucial RAM has been around.
I've used them all the time because they were the only RAM memory that where you can, for example, the OptiPlex 7060s, which officially only support 32, but if you bought that special RAM from Crucial, you can smack it up to 64.
Yep.
So, well, I hope it will be available one way or another after that. Also, I just wanted to throw this one out there. If any one of you happen to be in Dallas next week for Workplace Ninja, please come and say hi. We would like to chat with you. I'll be there for 2 days, have 2 sessions, and then I'll be back to snow again. I guess there could be some snow in Dallas also, but less likely than here.
Yes.
It's miles away. All right. And no, that was it. I thought I had one more, but I didn't. That was it.
If you do check in our little chat here, I did find Maurice did post an update to the invoke CM apply driver package script. So I found a tweet from him where he mentioned that it was happening, but also went and found the actual script on GitHub. The improvement just says improved logic when multiple driver packages are detected with different system SKU values by falling back to the most recently created package. But I'd say that's worthy of updating the script in your environments.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And I did realize I had one more post after all, and it was you that alerted me to it earlier today. Unless you showed it and I just wasn't paying attention.
Oh no, that one. It's funny. It's a circle because you first alerted me to it.
Anyhow, Rudy helped one of their customers troubleshoot why Intune settings were left behind even after policy had been removed. And long story short, it turned out to be a bug where filters that were supposed to be not there were still somehow active, and after working with Microsoft support to have them removed, this problem went away. But I found it very fascinating because Rudy described the entire troubleshooting step and what they did and all of that good stuff. So if you want to learn a little bit what's going on behind the scenes here, very, very good read. A spoiler alert also, Rudy and a couple of other folks will be joining us next year for a couple of days of mastering Microsoft Intune internals. It's basically 3 days of troubleshooting Intune. So that'll be great fun, and we will make sure to let you know when that information is posted. It's going to be in April 2026.
Can't wait. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. All right. Now, what questions do we have?
Well, the first one that we have is over on YouTube. How would you go about troubleshooting why a DO download for a feature update takes a very long time to start? Also noticing this for company portal downloads. We are using 2 pints DO configs with SCCM MMC. Or MCC, maybe that is.
At the connected cache,
yeah,
yes.
Yep.
I mean, the throttling that you configure, either if you have an agent throttling stuff, or if you have policies that are throttling stuff, there are a couple policies that are often configured dynamically. And let me bring up that list. I did do a little guest blog here a while ago. What did I call that? I can search for something that are fewer posts with. So if you configure these things, delay background, these settings are intended for the client to look around for friends longer before starting to download. So if these are set up higher, it can take a while for the download to actually start. And I know, depending on your network setup and whatnot, that this is often preferred. So to make sure you have higher peering efficiency, rather than having 200 clients each reaching out to a CDN to get the content. So that's something I can think of that is configured. But you can check this on the client, because it doesn't matter who sets the configuration. This information is in the registry of those devices. So if I go to any given DU device today here and open up the registry, either I will have them, if it's configured for Intune, that will be in the policy manager node, or if it's just a regular traditional policy configuration, they will be here added in. So, and here you can see I have those value configured that I mentioned earlier in here. So maybe that. Maybe that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Another question here. Have you experienced devices not updating the secureboot cert when running the reg key and scheduled tasks shown by Richard in office hours? This was a sort of a demo he showed when he joined us a couple of weeks ago. This is okay on some models, but not a fairly recent one that has latest BIOS installed.
I've certainly seen it is taking longer than expected when doing that configuration, that there are so many phases of that, and that service have to run often twice in a timely fashion before the next level is configured. There were a couple of those levels I learned actually from Gary Block during MMS in Nashville. Can be combined by adding those values together to save 2 reboots there. But I haven't seen a recent write-up for it. But see if I can find that article and bring up on screen.
Mr. Terrell is joining us here in the chat and mentioned it could require a reboot.
Thank you so much.
It's one gentleman alongside with Gary that has quite a bit of experience in this space, to say the least.
I was just trying to find that original article. No, I had it somewhere.
And Mike also mentioned event ID 1800 will indicate a reboot is required.
Very much. So this was the post I was looking for. It's been updated a couple of times since, but this one explains the different mitigation guidelines and these different values that I talked about, and that particular service that has to run. And that one has some default triggers in it, so it will run at boot. But what we found when playing around with this, especially in our trainings, is that if you kick off this yourself, it gets added much more quickly. And this post also highlights some of these event log entries for it. Might have that guide available. So I did spend some time on it. Here. One of the labs we were working on there, but long story short, checking for certificates and then checking for different entries in the event log after the fact. So I basically through that little type of from the beginning to the end type scenario. I might give some clues. I wish this was so much easier than it is, but quite painful. All right.
All right. And Mike reshared the registry key updates page here in the chat. So we'll make sure that link gets posted again this evening.
Awesome.
Or in the morning.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. So Matthew's been, I think, facing this issue for a little while. So I will preface his question with he mentioned this could be a big question for this forum, but any suggestions to check would be appreciated. So for his management point round robin issue, it was suggested to remove all but one management point since they have less than 4,500 clients in their environment. Access was granted for port 443 to all client VLANs, but then all clients using that management point showed a question mark in devices in the ConfigMgr console, and they couldn't pull any task sequences. The smsts.log showed it contacting the MP, but would never actually use it as an MP. He's added everything back to the state that it was previously, but just asking for any recommendations on what might be different as that management point was no longer on-prem, but in Azure. The first thing that stands out to me is just verify, Matthew, when you say access was granted for port 443, make sure that's going in the right direction in your either in your firewall or, as you mentioned, if it's in Azure, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. The NSGs, the network security groups in Azure. Make sure that 443 rule is going in the correct direction, first and foremost. Not sure if you have any recommendations there, Johan.
No, but it's not just that port. It's also you want to make sure that the fast channel ports are available as well.
Yep.
And open, otherwise you won't see the status of the client. And make sure there are no load balancers and whatnot in between that can cause conflicts.
Yeah, if you want to switch over to my screen real quick, I did pull up the ConfigMgr firewall documentation. And so this would be the one that we'd be looking for. And to your point, the fast channel port and 443. If I remember correctly, I think Matthew's using PKI, so it should be only 443 at that point, right? Don't know if 80 is needed if you're using PKI.
I can think of a few scenarios where it would, so I wouldn't go ahead and block it.
Okay.
Or at least audit it. Audit it.
Yeah, that would be the first thing that I would check. I mean, I've seen plenty of scenarios over the years where I thought I had a firewall rule configured correctly, and things were just acting strangely. Yeah, let us know if that fast channel port 10123 helps out, Matthew.
I mean, they should fall back.
Yeah.
There is a fallback option in it. Otherwise, there'll have to be more hands-on troubleshooting, I'm afraid.
Yep.
All right. What else?
Let's see here. think we're missing any at the moment, but we do have a whole 24 minutes left.
Yeah.
Do you have any fun as we slow down work-wise here and get towards the holidays? Oftentimes that gives us the opportunity to play around with some new things that have been on our list for a while. Do you have anything on your mind that you're looking forward to trying out or working with in your lab or anything coming up here soon?
I wouldn't say looking forward to it, but I'm going to replace the thermal paste one on my workstation because it's getting pretty dang warm. And it's not supposed to be pretty dang warm. So
I'm looking forward to if you get improvements from that.
Yeah, but it's funny. I have like two pretty much identical workstations, and they are beefy machines, both of them, memory, CPU, and whatnot. And one of them, as soon as I put a little bit of workload, the sensors goes up pretty high. It's not like down here, but it's up in the 85, 90 degrees constantly.
Were you sharing graphs right now? You've got my screens up on stream.
That I would explain why it didn't show.
There we go.
Yeah. So this is the hardware in question. So these are identical. I make sure that all the fans are cleaned out and all of them are actually spinning. But one of these machines gets much warmer than the other, to a point where it actually shuts down after a while. So if I spin up a couple of hundred VMs, it just.
Yep.
So that's what I've been doing during the holidays.
And just to add a data point, as you well know, it first started happening to me with the exact same machine earlier this year. And I could always replicate it when I spun up a nested Hyper-V VM that had, 8 or 10 other VMs running on it. And now, since you started having that problem, I fired that VM back up. It's been running ever since you asked me about this.
Of course. That works. Threaten it with surgery and it, yes, all right, I'll behave.
Yeah, exactly. But I really am hoping if you get that thing open and the thermal paste replaced, I hope that you're seeing some significant improvements, because I'm out of ideas. I see Mike says he gets to spend winter break migrating their primary ConfigMgr server to new hardware. I'm expecting to be visited by 3 ghosts at some point during the process. Yeah.
Funny, I just did that with a customer 2 weeks ago. They had an old server 2016, and instead of doing an in-place upgrade, which is supported, we decided to take the route of spinning up a brand new server and just backup restore of the content. And the stuff that took us the longest was actually the content library, because they had a 2.4 terabyte content library. It took a while. Now, even with good network, it took a while to copy that one over. So we just let it run overnight and we fixed it up in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's a happy server now. So
good. Did you, through doing that, did you reuse the same IP and everything, or did you do new IP, new server name?
Server name has to stay the same, but IP doesn't matter. So before we shut down the old server after backing up and copying everything, we renamed it, so we could bring up the new server with the same name.
That makes sense.
Yep. ConfigMgr is very picky.
Can't imagine.
I mean, think about it. It would be pretty bad if it needed the same IP. It's like you never move it from a network, but no. So luckily that is not the case. But server name has to be the same.
Yep. always think from a firewall rule standpoint, but you know, a little planning goes a long way there.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
All right, but I do not see any more questions, and I mean, it is December. I know a lot of folks are busy out there wrapping up for the year and whatnot in projects. So for those of you that joined here today, thank you so much for joining, and we certainly hope to see you again, possibly next Wednesday. I'm not sure if you're up for running the show without me, but I'll be on a flight home from Dallas at that time.
Well, I plan on being here for anybody who wants to come quiz me, but I will be flying solo, no pun intended, because you will also literally be flying solo. So I will hopefully see some or all of you next week. Johan, enjoy the conference. It sounds like it's going to be a great one. I'm really excited to hear about it.
I have high hopes. High hopes. The European versions of this have been amazing, so I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. We'll see you later.
All right. Thanks, Johan. Thanks, everybody.